welcome to the end is.
Sigh.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. We'll just set the tone early off on this episode. I'm Nate.
And I'm Todd. Welcome to the big show, baby. This is where we talk about very sad movies sometimes.
Yes. And what movie are we talking about today?
This week on the pod, we are talking about 1988's Grave of the Fireflies.
Yep. And we'll get into that later, but what do we normally do on the pod?
Normally, well, we review the movies. This happens to be Grave of the Fireflies is a moment to shine. And then every other episode, we talk about themes that we found in the movie. So if it's Titanic, we'll talk about ships and sinking and doors. You know, we'll find something and we'll go on with it. Sometimes they're big themes, like growing old, and sometimes it's, I don't know,
doors.
like doors. I'm trying to think of ones we've actually talked about. I don't think we
skateboarding.
Yeah. But we had a guest for that one. That one's special.
Yes.
But yeah, that's usually what we do, and we make meaning out of the meantime. We also do that, and that's really just our way of saying we recap what we've done and some things in the news and all that good stuff. So Nate, to tee you up for that, what have you made meaning out of in the meantime? Anything?
It's been a whole lot of nothing on my end here. It's been kind of a nice mundane, being old, not having stuff going on.
I mean, since we last recorded, you have aged significantly.
Yeah.
He's got a big white beard. He twists in his fingers as he's talking.
Yeah. Oh, I guess one thing do was a Union Arena release event.
Okay.
What you got to say about that, huh? No, you were ready to say something.
Was it solo leveling?
It was.
I get fed the same stuff you guys get fed because we talk about it. So I did hear about something about solo leveling being released, and I was like, oh, Union Arena, I know that. So
yeah,
that's me being cagey.
Overall, good event. The people we went with, one of the guys, he ended up winning the event. So congrats to him. He
did he?
Yes,
do I know
did.
This person?
You do.
I mean, I know. I'm trying to parse it even more. How well do I know this person? Do I know them through you, or do I know them through me, through you, through everybody else?
You know them. You've flown on a plane with him.
Dang, he won, huh? He didn't tell me.
Yep.
All right, we're going to have him on the pod to talk about this.
Yeah.
Pull the mask off this phantasm.
And what about you, Todd?
Congrats to him. Well, I didn't win any freaking tournaments. Have I? By the way, have I cursed yet?
I don't know. I'm kind of numb to it, so I don't know if you have.
Oh, no. What if we try to make this a clean episode?
I mean, we could try.
Guys, keep us honest, all right? I'm not going to cut this part out where we ask. I'm in real time. I don't know if I've cursed yet. If you hear bleeps, or maybe I can cut around it. Who knows? We'll find out. All right, we're going to try and go clean because this movie that we're going to review also doesn't need me to do that much excitement to it. It's not a spoiler alert, but it's more somber. So anyway, we'll try that. But you asked me what I did in the meantime. In the meantime, I just got a lot of news, man. There's been a lot of things that came out in the last few days. And so I'm going to call this segment, Nate, News for Nate, 2 weeks late. So that works two different ways, right? Some of this news is just for Nate, or, so we can talk about it. But he might already know it. That's the caveat. 2 weeks late because everybody listening to this always gets our news 2 weeks late. So if you have somehow avoided it in the meantime, you're welcome. Here's everything.
I think it's always good too with the bringing up old news because everything gets buried so quick. So I feel like it works.
The media cycle. Yeah. Did you hear my Michael Barbaro tone there from the Daily? This is news you need to know today. Have you ever heard that show?
Nope.
It's a quick little podcast. I don't know. Sometimes, the New York Times is sometimes very rough. But anywho, go listen to that. Don't listen to it. I don't give a shoot.
He was close. He caught himself. That was not a re-edit or anything, everyone. That was live Todd catching himself.
Woo! I've got a lamp on my desk. It's looking at me. I feel like I'm being interrogated here. I start sweating halfway through this. All right. Well, here's some pieces of news. We'll run through them roughly fast here. The Wall Street Journal reported that AI isn't lightening workloads; it's making them more intense. That's the article. And it says, examining AI users, their digital activity 180 days before and after they began using such tools on the job, they found that AI intensified activity across nearly every category. Quote, the time they spent on email, messaging, and chat apps more than doubled, while their use of business management tools, such as human resources or accounting software, rose 94%. So, basically, we got you to do more stuff because we can just say, just AI it. So now you can get that done. Or you can get that done. Great, you can do this too. You can also do this, and this. The list just gets longer. Bosses don't give you less work if you're more efficient.
No.
They give you more. That's always been the case.
Yep. Yeah, so then the question begs is when AI becomes something you can't use in the workplace, if that's ever the case, if it's under a paywall, the bosses aren't going to care that you were able to do this workload. Now you're not because you can't do it all by yourself.
Well, they'll still expect the same results, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, productivity will then crush and they'll go, well, what happened? Well, because, for whatever reason we couldn't do it. Let's say Amazon's S3 or whatever, their network goes down again. Or AWS, I should say, not S3, goes down, and then you don't have access to a lot of stuff, including maybe some AI programs. Then oh my gosh, it's the dark ages. All of our learned knowledge is useless. This is what we've become dumb. Guys, we're ants on a rock floating through space. We should just be able to enjoy time and not have to worry about this AI stuff. But
yeah, but also the other thing is hackers. What happens when some hacker is able to get into it and put their own code into AI where it just screws everyone else up?
Oh, it's already happening, and it's happened before, and it'll happen again. It's happening a lot in news stories where I just had one I was going to talk about. I ripped it from this News Nate update where a guy used Claude, the AI program, to hack into basically Roomba type robots. And so it could track their floor plans. It could see through their camera, their microphone. It could do it to all these different connected devices. He did it for just his and realized he could get everybody's device. Just asking AI. So yeah, it happens. It's happening right now. Somebody is using AI to backdoor something right now. It's again, whatever. We could rant on AI. We have done it before. I'll move on to the next one. Melania Trump, Nate, who, if she wasn't connected to Trump, would receive chance of deport her at his rallies, just for the record. So this chick is the epitome of every MAGA's worst dream, right? But she walked to the White House podium with a robot, I think today or yesterday, and then proposed using AI teachers to homeschool children.
Oh, boy.
So, I said I was going to do AI, but forgot that was also AI.
Yeah. It's our world is AI, It's just the fact that I have no words for this, honestly. I really don't.
It's all right. I didn't expect it. It speaks for itself.
Yep.
Guys, I don't know why I said this next one's about AI too. This is actually good news though, in a way, right? So the Sora AI app, the AI slop app, as we call it, reported by many outlets, has shut down, even though there was a $1 billion investment by Disney into the company that ran it, OpenAI. People are cheering for it. Yeah.
Great news. I love it. And
because it wasn't working, it was unprofitable.
Yeah, I hope that's going to be the case for a lot of AI because they're going to realize, oh, this is not working. The bubble will burst, and then we're going to have a lot of productivity at work go down, and people realize, oh, we didn't know what we were doing at all.
Yeah, I forgot how to do my freaking job. Yeah, and people are claiming like, oh, Disney walked away from it. A lot of headlines are framing it that way, but Disney still wanted it. Disney had to walk away because it doesn't exist anymore. And according to the BBC, that says Disney, this is a quote from Disney, Disney will engage with other AI platforms to find ways to responsibly use the technology without infringing on intellectual property rights, a spokesperson said. So Disney's still out there to do it.
Yeah.
The mouse has been compromised. Now, not AI. A New Mexico jury found Meta, aka Facebook, liable for social media harm to kids. Did you read about this?
I heard a little bit. I didn't read into it, though.
Yeah, the jury unanimously just over and over, guilty, 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 and they charged the maximum amount fine, which is a drop in the bucket to these companies. It said the case involved a 20-year-old woman, a minor at the time when they filed, named Kaylee. She said she became addicted to Google's YouTube and Meta's Instagram at a young age because of their attention-grabbing design, such as the infinite scroll that encourages users to keep looking at new posts. We know this. It's the doom scroll now. We've all been subject to it. The jury found that, so I said Meta only, but Google is involved. The jury found Google and Meta were negligent in the design of both apps and failed to warn about their dangers. So they got fined like $4-something million, but these companies make like $100 billion.
That's nothing to them.
No, it's it's a grain of sand on an entire beach. Like it. Yeah, that's what it is. So. This one is related to the pod, Nate. So NASA is canceling plans to deploy the space station in lunar orbit. We talked about this during Flight of the Navigator. Instead, they're using its components to construct a $20 billion base on the moon's surface over the next 7 years.
Oh, wow. You got real estate? You going to the moon?
I didn't even want to go. Well, I can't remember if I said I wanted to even go to their lunar station. I think I said I would visit that, right? But what are you going to do on the moon? It's like the Jerry Seinfeld, like, old comedian stand-up. He's like, we're just driving around. It's a bunch of men in NASA because what do we decide to get to the moon and drive around? It's just nothing to do up there.
I guess you enjoy the low gravity.
But what? You should have seen Nate. I don't know if he's fondling himself. What he's doing.
I'm trying to motion the low gravity. Motion. Yeah. Would you do that? Or would you be like, all right, now I'm good?
I don't know if they'd let you do spacewalks, or you're always going to be probably in like a pressurized habitat, I would assume.
You're in a pressurized habitat, but does it control gravity? Because can you control gravity? Do we have that?
You can turn it off.
No, I think that's just movies.
I'm not talking about movies. I was picturing those training flights where they take you up, but that's because they drop into 0G, and so you're floating because it's really around you. You know, I don't know how that works. I imagine
we can. Guys, I got the light switch for the low gravity and high gravity.
Maybe it's real. I don't know. Tune in. If we do a space movie, tune in. We'll do gravity artificial or not. Newton is rolling in his grave right now. All right. Last piece of news for Nate, 2 weeks late. The U.S. Army has raised its maximum age for enlistment to 42, effective 4/20/2026.
Todd, you can go back in.
I know, I was out, baby, by like 6-7 years. It was like 34. But that means you're desperate, man. You know things are bad when your base won't even hoorah for you anymore.
Yep.
And honestly, send all the the TSA replacements, ICE at all the airports, send them. If you need soldiers, send the little wannabes. But,
right?
That was the week in news for Nate and you guys.
And you don't mean the TSA agents, you mean the ICE agents that are helping TSA.
No, that's what I think I corrected that the TSA replacements. I use air quotes that the audience can't see. That's my bad. Yeah, they're just standing around in airports being little dumb. I need to curse so bad, but it's all right. I'm just gonna. No, I don't,
guys.
Todd. No, you don't.
He is squirming right now. He's just sitting there. He's taking off his shirt now.
Yeah, got the drug scratches. The itches, the withdrawals. I need to curse, man.
Oh, he's just muted his mic and he is screaming. I'm guessing.
Beep, 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 beep. Did you pick that up on the mic? Is that? All right. That's it, Nate. That's what I got for you. Hope you enjoyed it.
And so is that segment replacing your other segment of ins and outs?
No. There's always an in and an out, baby. But to save you guys the time, there is no in this week, just an out. Okay?
Right, what's out?
What's in is go to a local art shop. There you go. That's it. I bought a local art piece. It was great. There's a gallery, exhibitions all the time. Go do that. Great. That's
Cherry
it.
cola.
What's out? Cherry kiss.
Kiss.
You cursed! No! It's not supposed to be you! Oh no! I've worked so hard for this! Oh no! bleeping that one out. We got to keep this train on the tracks. Oh no, it was such a blatant one too.
Yeah.
All right, at least I can track that, I think. Anyway, what is out is Nate cursing for the rest of this episode. And also, Shen Yun. You ever seen those commercials on the radio? Shen Yun.
Mm-mm.
Where it's like the Chinese dancers, and it's the production, the performance art that comes through Denver and other cities every single year.
Nope.
All right, Nate's been living under the proverbial rock, but everybody else knows what Shen Yun is. It's all the time. I got a packet in the mail also. That's a new one, but they pay a ton of money for marketing, like TV, radio, billboards, again, mail, traditional mail. But the reality is, this is a propaganda group. They go out there and they spread propaganda. And I was looking it up online, and it says that it's operated by the new religious movement Falun Gong. The group is promoted by the Epoch Times, which is a far-right media outlet affiliated with Falun Gong. The Chinese government has attempted to cancel its performances abroad by pressuring theaters and governments to do so. It's marketed as China before communism, in quotes. Each performance consists of approximately 20 independent vignettes. The lyrics of the vocal pieces promote negative views of evolution and atheism. So it's not even just the communism and stuff like that. It's evolution. I've always heard rumors of it being this propaganda machine that goes around with all of its money. And I finally looked into it and confirmed that. So the more you know.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, good thing I don't see advertisement for that, so I don't got to deal with it.
You will now. I have the packet. I almost showed it to you, but I don't want to go over to my trash can right now.
That's a good place for it.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Nate, before we move into the grand review segment of this episode?
Yeah, just get ready.
Yeah, do you like watching children suffer and die based on real life events? Then boy, do we have the movie review for you. And I'm not sure that's a spoiler, because you know right away what the gist of this movie is going to be. And it's in the title. Yeah. Grave is there. I don't know. Anyway, you want to introduce it all over again for them, Nate?
Yeah, so we have 1988's Grave of the Fireflies. So this was a first watch for me, and a first watch for you as well.
Sure was.
And
on Nate's recommendation.
It wasn't even a recommendation from a coworker. And
okay, is this the one we talked about the other day on the pod? You're looking confused or concerned.
I guess I don't have the memory of Todd here.
What did he say? Guys, he said something weird and I questioned him on it. And I said, what a weirdo. And I said, I'm going to have to talk to him. It was some opinion he had. And I can't remember what it is. Well, leave it in. All right,
neither here nor there. All right.
This could be strike two.
The day after I watched the movie, I went up to him. I was like, hey, how's your morning going? Is it a good morning and all that? You know, just seeing where his mood is at. And then he's like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I was like, okay, well, kindly go F yourself. And I walked away, and he was just like appalled, like, what did I do?
Good.
And then I turned around and was like, I watched Grave of the Fireflies. He's like, oh, you did, finally.
Yeah, let's be clear. It's a good movie. It's well animated. Music's great. I mean, it's a solid movie. That is not to take away from the movie, but it is not one you watch to even be motivated or to have hope for. It's just a moment in time that they tried to capture at a human level.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that synopsis is a young boy and his little sister struggle to survive in Japan during World War II. So that tells you what you need to know there. You want to talk him through the cast and the team?
I'm going to give that one to you.
Oh, really? Okay, the pronunciation's going to make me look really bad. Okay.
No one wants to listen to me pronounce those.
Dude, I can't even do it. I mean, directed by Isao Takahata. So please forgive us if we are butchering these names. He's known for this and a couple other anime movies, but he passed in 2018. Not like prolific in there. He just kind of had a banger and that was it. Written by Akiyuki Nosaka and Isaya Takahata. So the director also co-wrote. And the cast, bear with me again, I apologize for any horribleness here in the pronunciation. It is Tsutomu Tatsumi as Seita. That's the older brother. Ayano Shirashi as Setsuko, the little sister. Yoshiko Shinohara as the mother. Akimi Yamaguchi as the horrible aunt. Masayo Sakai as the woman who takes care of Setsuko towards the beginning there. So, I mean, there's other people, but that's the main speakers, honestly, in this group. And yeah, it's Nate. How did you? So you kind of already alluded. You said F to the coworker there, but did you enjoy your time watching it?
Yeah, no, it was definitely well done. I think it's a good movie to watch still because
yeah,
it is that moment in time, and the perspective. It's a war movie that's not from the perspective of the war heroes, the people in the front lines that are battling. It's the people that are dealing with the war from just their regular mundane lives.
Yeah, it's that human element of on the streets, on what does it look like when the bombs are falling on you and you're not the one dropping them.
Yeah. It's just an emotional roller coaster that just continues downward and never goes up.
That's very true. No, there are warnings in the form of like an air raid or bombing siren that goes off. Like throughout the movie, all of a sudden it'll happen. You go, oh no, and then everybody runs and tries to find shelter, or and that's your almost like your action scenes, for lack of a better way to put that.
Yeah,
and then in between, it's like that disillusion with the world and just kind of the realities of a war-torn country and what that looks like for two orphans because of this. And yeah, I mean, again, spoilers all over the place, I guess, but this movie starts in a train station, and you have Seda just looking pretty bad. I almost thought at first it was going to be drugs or something. Like he was just a young boy with these other kind of young boys around, like sleeping on the floor in the train station. And he has this like look of despondent on his face before like a janitor or a worker or whatever says like, oh, got to get these cleaned up before the Americans come in. And then he dies.
Yeah, it's a movie that starts off with just him kind of doing a little bit of narration and saying the date and that he dies. So you already know he's going to die in this movie. No matter where his story takes him, he dies here. Yeah,
and what you realize immediately is he then is like a spirit because he gets up and he's narrating, right? So he walks outside to this field and you see a little girl that you understand to be his sister comes and talks to him. So she's also a spirit. And you go, she didn't age.
Yep.
These characters have died at these young ages. And you're like, oh, great. Now I get to watch how this happened because they're going back to tell you the story. Almost like they narrate's very few and far between, but almost watching this life take place.
There's a part of me that wanted to hold out some hope that his afterlife was just a dream that he made up to see his sister again.
A glimpse.
So throughout the entire movie, I was really hoping like, yeah, she's going to make it. She'll make it, right? There's got to be a glimmer of hope. No.
Never once thought that. So I wish I were you. I wish I had that kind of hope watching it. I was like just waiting for the moment for it. And there's a lot of smoking guns during this movie where you're like, oh, they're alluding to it. And there's a scene jumping way far ahead where they're on the beach and she scratches a rash and they just mention it offhand. And I'm like, oh, that's what's going to do it. Like that's going to end poorly. This rash that they keep alluding to. And they're like, oh, okay. But to take us back to the beginning, when he does go out there, so the janitor finds like a 10 of something. We don't quite know it. I think it looks like fruit on the outside. Throws the 10 into the field, and when Seda goes out there, all these fireflies spring up from the grass, and Setsuko wants like the 10, and then they kind of gives it to her. Then they walk off, and then it truly begins. And so you've kind of got everything you need right there. It's all in the title, but fireflies play a big part in this movie as not more just like symbolism, but they're also there, and they actually serve a physical purpose in the story later on.
Yeah. The one thing that really threw me off, at the beginning was them going through the train, and it was him on the train, but then also their spirits on the train watching as well.
Yeah, well, because the Seta that we see at the beginning, he's in like a white t-shirt and pants, and then the Seta that is talking to us in like the naval outfit, or I don't know, like the hat and jacket, I was like, is this two different people? At first I was like, is this a different kid talking about a kid that died? But then you realize quickly this is like his true form, or how he sees himself. Like once he's dead, like this is what he's wearing.
Yes.
And this all takes place in 1945 in March, which was, I think it was 5 months before the bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing the Pacific War and all the damage, and the basically forcing the Japan to surrender at this point.
Yeah. So the movie starts off after that, and it gets to the point where you get your first glimpse of the sirens going off and the bombs dropping. Now, they're not exactly they're not bombs. They're more like napalm, kind of like fire starter things or whatever.
Yes, I saw that when they were dropping. I was like, what are those? I was like, are they napalm? Because it would start. I'm just repeating exactly what you said, but yeah, they fall, but they don't necessarily explode, right? They almost seem like tins that are just there to light everything up. And so I actually looked it up, and I can actually tell you what they were called. So it says they are incendiary bombs that were raining down on Kobe, the city of Kobe, which is where this takes place in Japan in 1945. So incendiary is not quite napalm, but it is there just meant to decimate and make sure that the structures are not there anymore.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy just like how much of a silent killer it was. Yeah. It was quiet, falling from the sky. There wasn't, the big boom or anything. It was just boop, boop, and that was about it.
Yeah, like you'd have 10 cans falling on your roof, and then it's like, oh, we got to get out of here. This movie deserves some cursing, but I will restrain myself. It starts right away where they're in their home with their mother, and the mother obviously is a big part of this movie, even though she's only in it at the very beginning. And she's like, I got to go, make sure you get to a shelter. I question, Nate, why didn't the mom take Setsuko? Why did she leave Setsuko with the little brother and then go to where the
little sister
shelter was? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have to rewatch it, but I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it.
But there's nothing to rewatch, really, because they're just like, she's like, all right, I'm going to go make sure you get her to like the shelter and stuff, because they know this is happening. I was like, wouldn't you take the daughter with you as the mother? You wouldn't leave her with the brother.
The only thing I could think of is she had to go back in maybe to get her heart medication, because that was like a line in there after. But I don't know if that was...
she was maybe going before, but you would still take the sister with you. You, as the mother, feel like you would take your little daughter with you and not leave her during a potential bomb dropping. But either way, she did go separately. They start coming down. They go to find shelter. By the time they find where the shelter used to be, or I guess it's kind of there, but obviously the area's been just rained upon. They find out that the mother has been hit or was set on fire, and she is head to toe wrapped. Like, she is 3rd-degree burns on, I would say, 100% of her body from what we can see.
It is a very daunting image of her bandaged up, and you just see her eyes, mouth. Yep. That's it. And kudos to the animators on that for being able to create something that makes you feel sad in that moment of just this kid just lost his mother, and it just, the corpse, the look, everything is just very eerie.
Yeah, well, Seta has to keep it a secret from Setsuko. Like, he has to play he has to play father. He has to play the caretaker immediately. He doesn't tell Setsuko purposely that the mother has passed. So like, oh, she's at the next one. We'll meet her there. He just keeps giving her hope. We'll see in the next one. And this is where you get the friend that watched Setsuko on the side and is like very optimistic and like, hey, she's the one that's like, your mother's inside. Go talk to her. all this. And she's kind of like the little saving grace at the beginning there. But then quickly, obviously, the mother passes. And then while Setsuko is being taken care of, Seita, the brother, goes and watches basically all the bodies be dropped into a mass grave. Because what do you do? There's 1 million people in Kobe at the time, and so many of them are dying in these bombings. And he walks away with a box of ashes. And how does that work? Because there's no way it's just her ashes that he's getting. No. So you're getting a mixture of everybody's just symbolically.
I think, it is symbolic of like, okay, her body was here. So I guess you take whatever you can from there, and that's absolutely partially it. But even then, you're getting other people in there. And I think that even weighs a heavier toll because the way it is, those are people's ashes that have also died from these bombings. Yeah. It's not just your mom that you're carrying with you. It's so many others.
Yeah, and it's a mass casualty. Like, how do you? It's symbolic in multiple ways, absolutely. And it's tough to think about because that actually happened. Like, they weren't making up a lot of this stuff, right? This is just hey, these are probably from stories that they were told and heard over the years and baked them into this anime. And roughly at this same time, we also find out that the dad is in the naval arms of Japan. And they can't get in touch with him. Nobody can reach him. And so you already kind of know as the viewer, that's not good. Then they keep making the point that the father's not getting in touch, and he usually would. You kind of know what's happening. So they are officially, unofficially orphans.
Yes. And this is where they start staying with their aunt. And
the aunt.
She makes the point when they join, they have all these like bedding materials and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, people in the armed forces and all that, they always get the good stuff. Is how she describes it, because his dad being there in the naval, he gets all of these perks or whatever it is that allow them to live a little bit of a better life.
Yeah, well, her setup for this is just like, come on in, your family, like, I'll feed you, we'll take care of you, and immediately becomes the wicked stepmother.
Yes.
And I get it. She's under a lot of stress. I get that. She's all of a sudden taking care of 2 orphans. But this chick is so mean because her daughter is like helping out and her husband, but the daughter's helping out. And so she makes a point like they get the daughter when they're getting dinner gets the protein and the carrots and everything, while Setsuko and Seita get the soup. Just get the liquid because they're not doing enough to support anything. It's like, hey, this kid is, I think, 15. And she's got to be half his age, if that. And they just lost their mother and probably their father in a current bombing situation. She's so strict for no reason on these children. And there's even a point where she goes, school, like, why aren't you going to school? And I was like, I asked myself to the screen, school, what are you talking about? Like, everybody, like, this was like a week after the mother is dead. What school are they going to? The one that's about to get bombed?
Well, he was even like, oh, it burned down. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. And back to the point of you saying how she's stressed, I understand that as well. But I think this does a really good job of showing in the times of war, people turning on their own because they're stressed out to where they are trying to make their ends meet. So they'll turn on others just to survive. Yeah. It's a very dark, just take on it.
No, absolutely. And I think that the adults in this movie are portrayed as very bad in terms of empathy and support. Even when they have enough to help, they just choose not to and will look down because it's all this, honor that. And I know that's a big thing in Japan and other cultures, is like honor above all else, which I get a little tired of, not to be the American here on it, but I'm like, dude, there's a time and place to have honor, but don't put it before life and death. I like, sometimes you can, the end is sigh, right? We want to go out with honor and do all that and be cool and bad A's and stuff. Is that a curse word? But we want to be all cool and stuff. We don't want to die sigh. So you want to go out with the honor, but at the same time, not at the expense of helping out your fellow neighbor or children that have been orphaned next to you that are in your family.
Or, niece and nephew. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But she's like, all you do is loaf around. And then, Nate, what does she have them sell?
their mother's kimonos. It's one of those where Setsuko is sleeping on the floor or whatever, and she's talking to Seda about being, hey, these are going to get some really good rice, and we're going to be able to, bargain for some good stuff. So as she goes to take him away, Setsuko wasn't asleep, wakes up crying, just, hey, don't sell my mom's kimonos, and is very attached to those. And the aunt comes back with rice, which is great, but she pretty much pours out that rice into a jar and is like, hey, this is your guys' rice, and the rest is ours. Even though it was their mother's kimonos, she just pretty much was like, yeah, thank you. And that's it.
That's why I don't have sympathy for this aunt, dude. She takes advantage of them. And then Seita even takes out money. They have, I think, 7 or 9K. Yen. 7, is it 7 in the bank? And he takes out, I think, 4 of it and helps out. Like, she's getting a lot of money just to live at home and feed these guys every now and then. They're otherwise they're on their own running around and stuff. They don't need to like contribute to some war effort. I know that there was I don't know if I mentioned this in the fun facts later, but spoiler for that they made a movie later on, like a live action called, also I think it's maybe it's Grave of the Fireflies or some other, I'll have to look at the name, but it's about the aunt's side to things and kind of like relating to her stresses of taking care of them. I was like, don't give me that. I ain't gonna look at that. That's nonsense. But yeah, she sold their mother's kimonos and then took all the rice they got from that. And
yeah.
But this is where they go to the beach and the rash comes out as the smoking gun.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because like Seita, he's at that age of like, he knows what's going on, but he's really just trying to make sure his sister is distracted. So by going to the beach, just trying to have a fun time when he can and bring it out, swimming, whatever it is at that point.
Yeah, and he's always trying to entertain her.
Yeah, as they're at the beach, that's where it is revealed that she does have a rash. And he's trying to like, get in the salt water, I'll help out, just to help her distract from the rash and the war as well that's going on.
Yeah, he steps up real quick and just 100% like completely takes over this caretaker role, and his every waking moment is make sure Setsuko is okay and that she's happy. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he gets that from his mom, and I'm like, why couldn't the aunt's house have been incendiary grenaded or whatever, right? And the mom would have taken into the aunt's family and never caused any harm. I bet she would have been like, yeah, you don't need to work, I'll take care of you because I'm cool.
Yeah,
I never get that story.
But as they're at the beach, you have this fun moment to just all of a sudden. Well, no, actually, it wasn't at the beach. They were fine because they started walking back. And then as they're walking back, they go by some other family's home or whatever to see food. And then they start saying how they're hungry and they're not getting the food that they're wanting.
Yeah. Well, this is like part of them getting these interactions with people in the village that you're like, oh, what a nice person. They're selling different things to them. They'll like go and pick food and grab like items and sell them back to people. And then they'll be like, oh, thank you so much. Here it is. They'll just give them exactly what they paid for, right? Which is great. Business, it's happening. They're doing the thing tit for tat. But then you realize they're all resentful of Seita and Setsuko for not helping in the war effort. And they're like, they're not going to help you beyond if you ask for like an extra, I don't know, this is fabricated, but like an extra pair of socks, they'd be like, screw you, get what you get what you get and get out of here, you loafer. And you're like, come on, man. Like everybody that you see is nice. The next time you see them turns out to be cruel to these kids.
Yeah. And I think it just goes with the movie because every time there's like a nice scene or something fun and joyous, it's just immediately ruined by the sirens going off. And they realize, all right, guess what? We have to go back and take shelter and make sure we don't die.
Yeah. And that's a great point. I wrote down like that. The sirens keep cutting the niceness out of the movie, which is, it's clever. I mean, it's sad that it's real, right? That it's, that's a real conceit that they're using, but it is clever in terms of telling the story here. And Nate, this is where the aunt is so mean to them that they start cooking food on the side by themselves and then decide, we're just going to move out.
Yep. And they decide to go to a bomb shelter.
Yeah. Do you agree with Seta moving his sister out of this place?
That is
as mean as she is.
That is a choice that is. It's hard because, like, I get it. They're a kid and they're young. I think it's just that mentality of a kid being, oh, I can do this. I can go live on my own.
It's the honor and pride.
That's what he tries to do. And then the honor and pride screws him over later on as he said, you know what? We can keep doing this.
Yeah, it cometh before the fall, as they say. And I mean, that's the thing is, like, on one hand, you're like, the aunt is horrible of just like, but she's not like beating them or whatever. They're still getting food and they have a place to sleep indoors and running water and all this stuff, you know? And he takes his little sister and is like, yeah, we're going to go basically live and look to the community like vagrants, like vagabonds, right? We're going to go, they just increasingly over the story, dirty, torn clothing, smelling. And it's just like, they're living in a bomb shelter, which is just basically a half cave. It's nothing there.
Yeah, I think so. I might be jumping ahead here, but it just occurred to me. So they lived in that bomb shelter and they kind of, scrummaged by for the longest time. At the end of the movie, there's that family that gets back to their house and how unsettling it is. They could have just lived up in that house, no problem, but they had no idea. And it's just
like a mansion overlooking the lake, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They could have squatted in there for those couple months or however long it takes place. Oh, yeah. That is a very powerful moment where the kids are like, oh my gosh, hey, look at this view. Yeah. And they're looking out over it. And down in the distance, you can see the bomb shelter and them having at this point already died. Right. And so you're like, or at least Setsuko has. And it's very well done, guys. Like, again, it's sad, but it is very well done.
Keeps hitting you while you're down.
Yes, it does. Where you do get, again, the niceness is cut, but you do have a nice moment where the Fireflies are brought back into the rotation, where they put up a mosquito net, and for light, which is very clever, they collect all these Fireflies and they release them inside of this netted area where they're sleeping, and those act like their interior lights. It's pretty, it's well animated, it's very childhood wonder, like when you're a kid and it's like summertime and you're out like hanging out with friends and it's late at night and the weather's warm and you just got like, I don't know, there's that energy there that you can kind of feel like they're putting into this scene of this kind of magic that still exists when you're a kid. And this is one of the last times they're probably both happy because they feel free from the ants. They're living there on their own and they're not quite dying of starvation yet. Yeah.
It's nice, because it is just a moment of them being kids and enjoying life.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the next morning after the Fireflies were all on the netting, they die.
Yeah. Which I wasn't aware that happens, but I guess it can. We'll find out. Maybe we'll find out in a future episode. I don't know.
Okay. I was going to say the only thing I could think of is they were just stuck in the netting so they couldn't get food or whatever they need to sustain their life for that time being.
Like 8 hours? I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what the lifespan of a Firefly is.
I hope somebody looked up Firefly facts. We'll find out. But yeah, but then this is where Grave of the Fireflies comes out, right? It's almost symbolic to the mother and the mass grave, where Setsuko basically digs a hole outside of the shelter and then puts all the bodies of the Fireflies into one hole and covers it back up as their grave. And this is where Seta breaks, because apparently Setsuko got some news that Seta was keeping from her still.
Yeah. And the aunt told her that their mom died.
Infuriating that she had this last, like, me first thing. And that's what makes Seta cry, was when he realizes his sister knows. It almost makes it real for the whole movie.
Yeah. And this is the first time he cried in the movie. Not after, like, visually showing.
Yes. Yeah.
To Setsuko. But yeah, this was the first time, and it hits, and then you realize, too, that box that he's been carrying around to the shelter and everything is his mom's ashes.
Yep.
And Setsuko still doesn't know about that even.
Right. She doesn't know what that means. Well, she probably maybe guessed it after the aunt told her, but
Yeah.
that, I mean, Seita's only happiness was that Setsuko was still the innocence of youth, right? She was ignorant to the fact that the mother was gone, that death is real, that you are mortal. And then it puts everything into like real stakes. And again, like you said, it keeps hitting you because it just goes down from here. Like there's still their bomb shelter plan. There's no food there, so they resort to like cooking frogs, but even that's not sustaining them. So they resort to stealing from local farmers, which I get it. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about these farmers.
And the way he goes about stealing is really
Clever.
really just clever, careless.
Yeah.
It's
Dangerous.
hard because he decides to go and raid while the air raids are going on.
It's smart.
It is very smart because people aren't going to realize what's going on. They're looking out for their life while he's saying, no, you know what? I need to look out for my sister's life. So I'm going to go risk my life to help her.
Yeah, it's a real impressive display of risk versus reward. Like, you're being dropped bombs on above you and you're like, yep, I'm going to run into where everybody's fleeing and do this. And I was like, I don't know. I appreciated this moment of like, oh, that's what he's doing. Okay, that is desperate times call for desperate measures. They do cause desperate measures too. But man,
there's even that small part too while he's going to steal stuff. He lets out like a quick cheer as he's going into the buildings, and he's cheering for the bombing, which is just like, I get it,
sick.
But it is
It's a real moral moment where you're like, ooh, I get it, but also what?
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
And then after he steals, like the next morning, he's going to trade some of the kimonos, which I think were supposed to be his aunt's kimonos that he stole.
Yeah, because he went back and took them, right? Yeah.
They're worth nothing. They're garbage compared to like his mother's silk ones. They're like, oh, this is low quality fabric. I can't give you anything for this. So it just sucks he goes through all that to not get anything in return, really.
Right.
Like he does with other stuff, but that was no payoff at all.
It should have been a payout, and it wasn't. Yeah, and then so that shopkeeper could have given them some sort of like, you know what? I see what's happening. You're obviously starving.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay you a little extra for this fabric this time. You know, you could do that, but no, all the humans suck, or all the adults suck. I will say, out the same mouth I just said that there's only one good person as an adult in this story, and that's when he gets caught by the douchebag farmer that drags him away, by the way, from Setsuko, this tiny girl that's starving in a cave. He drags him away from her to take him to the jail. And I'm like, dude, he's yelling at you like, my sister's right here. I need to take care of her. And he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, the humanity is gone. But we do get to the naval officer that is in charge of the jail, and he sympathizes with Seita.
Yeah, he's pretty much like, listen, you already beat up this boy. I feel that's punishment enough, so we're going to call it there. And the farmer's just angry about it, though. He's not happy at all.
But I do like, he's like, beating up a minor is also a crime. And he's like, I'll let you take care of it then. Yeah, you're right. I'll see you later.
Yeah, it's a real good checkmate. But at the same time, it sucks because you wish that naval officer would just go a little step further to either take him back or whatever it was.
But no, they send him back to the cave.
Yep.
And this is where food gets worse and worse. The ration is gone. That we didn't even talk about the through line is the 10 I mentioned at the beginning in the movie that the guy at the train station throws out. This 10 has, what are they called? Fruit drops.
Juice? Yeah, fruit drops, yeah.
Fruit drops,
and
it's
juice
little
drops.
Candies. Yeah. That Setsuko really loves. And this is what Seita basically gives her when she's feeling sad or about to be sad. He's like, hey, I've got these. And like, it's very clever. The animation is so good that there's a point where he's taking out some of them and they stick together. And he like goes to hand it and he has to like get them off the napkin or whatever. I'm like, they didn't need to do that, but they did it. They animated them getting stuck and him having to like shake them off. And it's like, they went the extra mile. But anyway, gives them to her. And at a certain point, the fruit drops run out. They never got any more, which sucks. I was always hoping that would be like their next thing, is that they got more fruit drops. You can never find them. But they make sweet water out of it, basically. They basically fill it up with water, shake it up, and then pours it and lets Setsuko drink the whole thing, and it's like it's all these different flavors of the fruits, and I thought it was a really cute, clever moment of them making I almost did a stupid thing on our podcast, but making memes out of what they had. We are not two orphan boys starving in a cave, although it feels like it on this podcast sometimes.
I was like, oh, he's gonna say that. He's gonna try fitting that into this. Oh boy.
I did not mean to say that.
Yeah. So this is, food rations getting really low. They're just trying to find anything and everything they possibly can for food, where there's some guy chopping up ice blocks.
Yep.
And as he takes in like one of the ice blocks as a delivery, Seda, he grabs the ice off of the ground, ice shavings, and is giving that to Setsuko, trying just to get any kind of water, anything whatsoever.
It's dire as hell, man.
Yeah. To the point where she's not doing well, so he finally takes her to a doctor.
The worthless doctor.
Yes. That's like, nope, can't do anything. He just chalked it up. It's malnutrition. She needs to be fed.
But the rash thing started well before the malnutrition, so it couldn't have been related. I'm sure she also had malnutrition, but the rash was not related to that part.
Yeah. So do you think she died from the rash or the malnutrition?
I would say a combination of the two. I think the malnutrition expedited whatever was happening with her, but she had the rash when she was still at the ants, like after they moved in, and she was not malnourished at that.
Malnourished, there you go.
I nailed it at that point. And so the doctor just being like, yeah, whatever. And the fact that the doctor didn't care that he was about to send this little girl out back into the world with no plan, no antibiotics, no nothing. It's like, you could give her some sort of, like, I don't know, supplement that like helps with nutrients. You could do something.
Yeah.
But no, doesn't care.
So yeah, this is where Seda, I guess, kind of swallows his pride, but not really. Goes to the bank to pull out the rest of the money.
Yep. The last
and from here, he pulls out his money. He's getting ready to leave, and he overhears a conversation about, oh, we lost the war. And he's completely distraught by the fact that, oh, we lost. And he still hasn't heard from his father or anything like that. So this is where he's starting to realize his dad's probably dead.
Yeah, because the guys that are just kind of nonchalant talking about it at the bank, one of them says like he tells him the whole naval fleet was decimated like at the very beginning of all of this. So probably the same time his mother died, the father died. And Seta is like, what do you mean? Oh my gosh, my father, he was in the thing and da-da-da. And the guy's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, why do these adults not have common sense? If a young child is like, hey, my father was in the war, he was a naval, and you just told me this was all obliterated? Yeah, obviously that means my father died and I just learned this information. Like, show me some sort of sympathy, dude.
Yeah.
But no.
Yep. So he gets back, and this is where he tries to cook a big feast, in a sense, for Setsuko to help her get subsistence, food. So he starts off with a watermelon, which is like her favorite.
Yeah, which I just want to ask you, so we said the pride cometh before the fall already. He had $3,000 in the bank this whole time as they almost starved to death.
Yeah.
What was he waiting for?
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Considering he was stealing, he got his beat.
Yeah.
Is that a bad one?
Beep. I don't know. You can use it on TV. I don't know. It's not technically explicit. We'll bleep that out. Anyway, he said the A word, guys. Rude. It's a learning in progress. It's a whole thing.
Yes. And from there, he just doesn't ever take out the money to just buy the food that they needed.
Yeah. They were clearly already starving to death.
It's bad choices again by Seta, from moving out of the aunt's house to, oh, no, I'm not going to take out the money yet.
Yeah, and to the point where you said, like, before he gives her the watermelon, he grabs marbles out of her mouth because she thinks she's eating the candies from the tin. She still thinks there's candies in there. And the symbolism, guys.
Yeah, she's hallucinating. She even has rocks that she says they're rice balls and is asking if he wants any of them.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
when he
a
knows.
really sad moment from there of also you as the viewer realizing this is where she doesn't make it.
Right. Well, then one of the only few narrations we get is where Seta says Setsuko never woke up. And
Yeah.
after that, we never went back to the cave. Like, he left, he basically got her cremated. He also got her ashes, I believe, right? And then
Yes. Yep.
never goes back. So now this is obviously like, well, where's he go? Probably back to the train station. But the movie does not really tell us this like week or whatever in between, right? Between now and the end of the movie. We do see the Fireflies come out of the pyre when they burn Setsuko, which is, kind of another symbolism. God, it's just symbolism like crazy, but the symbolism of the Fireflies looking like the flecks of fire coming from the ash, like the pyre, like all the, where you get that around a campfire, they look like that. So it was almost a 1-to-1 of that's what they look like as Fireflies, those ash particles. But
yeah,
embers.
Yeah, the montage.
That's probably what I was thinking of.
But yeah, the little montage of Setsuko at the lake and all that, just her on her own playing with herself while Seta was always out either stealing or he was trying to get food, whatever it was at that point, of her just entertaining herself during that. And the rock, paper, scissors in the lake is one of the fun, like, it's so funny of like, oh, kid, just reflection playing rock, paper, scissors with himself, not winning, just always tying.
Yeah, I love that too. Just that it was, and again, they didn't need to animate something like that, but they threw that little in there, that little pure moment. And yeah, I did make a note of that too. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And that obviously it's juxtaposed by what's happened before and after.
Yeah. And then also we realized this is the tin that he took of the fruit drops was her ashes.
That's right. He they're in there instead. That's full circle moment right there. And you don't realize that obviously that's what the train guy threw out at the end was her ashes, basically, which I think reading about it afterwards was like, you see the ashes hit, and then that's where her spirit kind of comes out and meets him in the grass.
Yeah.
But I think she was already there. It's just, again, more symbolism, right? She was already there because he then passes in the train station and goes out. But even before they get that, like, you think, oh, we're going to see this take place. But you see Seta and Setsuko as their spirits after that train run we talked about at the beginning, go to the top of the hill, overlook the city. And that was kind of like the last thing we see. Then it cuts to credits, and that's him looking at where he died.
Yeah. It's definitely crazy ending to the movie, but I don't know. It's just sad overall from start to finish.
Yeah. But I mean, we don't want to end on this like it's just a dour. I mean, but I don't know. It is.
It's
but
real.
It has its redeeming qualities. Like, I get why
it does. Yes.
People talk about it, why it was suggested, even if it makes you sad. Again, the feeling and vibe that it gives you. I almost liken it to Train Dreams, and I recommended this on a recent episode of ours. Like, it's a slice of life for somebody, and it's very real. It's not larger than life. It's just like, this is the reality of a situation somebody was in. And those movies have their place. I think it's a good thing to watch every now and then. Not everything should be the hero wins, right? It's like, this is what happened to people in Kobe and surrounding this area in 1945 as a result of war, and politicians across the oceans doing what they want to do. So, yeah,
I just want to point out also, after I got done watching this movie, I let Todd know, and the text that I got back was, perfect. Now we can be sad together.
Yep. We are sad boys. Welcome to the suck zone. I mean, that was my first foray into Studio Ghibli.
Okay.
First ever movie, which I think shocks some people from that group. But yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. Again, like, I knew the animation was going to be good, and that's a real and saving grace isn't the right word because it is a good story, but it definitely makes a difference. Like if this was poorly made and it was that sad, you would really question why you do this to yourself.
Yep. For this, I sent Todd a photo of the like DVD cover that they had.
You did.
And after watching the movie, looking at it, it's just crazy like how much is in that photo between it's pretty much Seda and Setsuko sitting in a field and there's a bunch of fireflies around. But in the shadows behind, you can see one of the bombers of the plane. And then as you look closely, the actual fireflies, the ones that are around are there. But if you look, there's other ones that aren't fireflies. They're actually the bombs dropping on them. And it's just kind of like a really saddening cover for a movie.
Yeah, so when you look back on it now, because when you sent it to me, I was like, yeah, that's the cover. Yeah, that looks right. Why are you sending this to me? Okay, yep, I've seen it. Okay. But now I'm looking like, oh, those are the incendiary bombs falling between the fireflies, and they are in their last stages because Seta is dirty, and like this is towards the end, you would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well played. Well played, Cover and Nate, for sending me that.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's Grave of the Fireflies. It is on Netflix currently, as of this recording. So,
yep. I recommend it. Just go in the right state of mind, I guess.
It's only an hour and a half, too. It's not a long movie. It's not going to draw you out. You're not going to get bored by far.
No.
But it is a thinker in terms of, story. But
yeah.
Well, Nate, with that, what are the themes you and I will be discussing next week in relation to Grave of the Fireflies?
So, sometimes, like we said, it's not a theme from the movie, but I am going to be talking about Studio Ghibli.
That's it? Is it Ghibli? I keep saying Ghibli.
I think it's Ghibli. Yeah, I think it's Ghibli. Because they said it with a soft J.
Well, fair enough. Well, that's good, because like I said, I haven't seen these movies, so I'll get some education on this. And I am going to talk about not fireflies, but lightning bugs. And that's purely so that the two episodes don't share almost the same title. That was just more of an admin thing I decided to do. And when I was growing up, I only called them lightning bugs. So maybe that's
it's kind of like where you grew up, like soda versus pop versus carbonated beverage.
No one says that one. But anybody that says Coke is a psychopath. But that's neither here nor there, because Coke is a product name. But anywho. So next episode, tune in to hear us talk about the Studio Ghibli and lightning bugs.
Yep. In the meantime, I guess you got any recommendations for them?
I do. I have a book series, Nathaniel.
Oh, yeah.
It's from my childhood. Series? Another throwback. So this is the Boxcar Children. Have you ever heard of that series?
I haven't.
It was, dude, I grew up on this. This was my bread and butter. This is the stories. These were probably some of the first full books I read. And there's 19 in the original run. I bought all 19. They're on my shelf behind me. I have the original, originally probably reprinted a billion times, but soft covers behind me. And it's about 4 orphaned children, so it's all in theme here. Henry, Jesse, Violet, and Benny Alden as they solve mysteries and all that good stuff. So it's fun. It's like it works your brain. So if you have kids, and everybody I know is having kids, read it to them. Hey, if you're feeling like something very light and easy, read it yourself. Nothing about this is religious, too. This isn't some weird religious message at the end. It's very much just fun people doing good things and having fun. So yeah, Boxcar Children. What about you?
For my recommendation this week, it's gonna be Murder Falcon.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Sharp turns.
Yep, it's a comic by Daniel Warren Johnson. He does the writing and the art for it. And it's just about a heavy metal band that the instruments they play summon these other monsters to fight battles for them. And one of them is Murder Falcon.
Okay, that sounds intense.
It's great. It's a fun read.
All right, I've added to my list. I still have some Dungeon Crawler Carl books to read. Which
yeah, you do.
My mother would like to tell you she has picked up and is going to read them. And I said, you're going to beat me to it. But so she's going to read them. So
well, thank you for that, for taking my recommendation.
Yeah. She still has never watched all of Angus, so we are bitter about that, and I bring it up to her a lot. She has my copy, and she's had it since we did Angus, so it's been a long time. Mother, turn on the pod to hear you get admonished by your son. But anyhow, yeah, so that good recommendation. I'll have to look up that and see kind of like, I don't know, I want to see some imagery. I want to see a cover, since we're looking at covers here.
All right.
But yeah. But that's it, man. That's it. Tune in next week. In the meantime, you can find us on all the socials, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Interact. Don't. You do you. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell those you hate. Especially if you're an aunt of 2 orphan children in Japan in 1945. Tell her to listen. And, yeah. Anything else, Nate?
I think you got it all. So, with that, with Setsuko's final words, Seda, thank you.
Oh, man. Well, in addition to having to bleep you twice, I can say it's freaking Candyland. Oh, man. This is not possible. I just realized this in real time. So this ain't going to happen very often because I can't be neutering my sign-off for this. But yes, it's Candyland, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.